7 touches that will make a mature woman fall madly in love with you. Psychology tricks. Love is not found in words, but in the spaces between them. That quote matters here because if you're honest with yourself, you've seen it happen more than once. A mature woman completely disarmed by a man who isn't richer, taller, or more impressive on paper, yet somehow leaves a deeper mark than all the others. Meanwhile, men who follow every rule, say the right things, and talk endlessly stay politely parked in the friend zone. The uncomfortable truth is this: connection at her level is not built through conversation alone. It's built through presence, restraint, and touch that carries intention. Mature women have lived, loved, and learned. They are immune to rehearsed lines and empty charm, and they sense insecurity faster than you can explain it away. What reaches them is a man who understands silence, timing, and physical awareness, a man who knows when not to speak, and when a simple grounded touch can say more than 1,000 words. Done correctly, touch bypasses logic and speaks directly to the emotional brain, activating deep bonding responses that science already understands, but few men truly respect. Done poorly, it repels instantly. That's the difference between being remembered for a weekend and being impossible to forget. Mastery here isn't about force or excess, it's about calm confidence, emotional control, and knowing that the right touch at the right moment can shift everything in her without asking, chasing, or trying too hard. The first touch, the magnetic face touch. The first touch is the magnetic face touch, and you must understand this clearly. Her face is sacred territory, not because it is fragile, but because it carries her identity, her emotions, her memories, and her sense of safety. Most men never dare to go there because they hesitate. They second guess themselves. They ask permission with their eyes before their hands ever move, and that hesitation is exactly why they never create impact. In female psychology, uncertainty kills attraction faster than silence. So don't rush, don't apologize, don't test the water with half gestures. Be calm, be steady, be intentional. Because when you touch a woman's face with absolute presence, not hunger, not nervous energy, but grounded confidence, something inside her relaxes and opens at the same time. Picture the moment clearly. You're talking, the conversation slows, there's a subtle tension hanging in the air, not loud, not dramatic, just alive. And instead of filling the space with more words, you pause. You hold her gaze. You let your hand rise naturally, slowly, sliding along the side of her face as if time itself has softened. No rush, no grabbing, no pressure. Just contact that feels deliberate and respectful, as if you're memorizing her features rather than taking something from her. And this is where psychology tricks meet instinct, because her mind doesn't process this as a simple gesture. It reads it as a message. I am comfortable here. I am not afraid of closeness, and I know exactly what I'm doing. And that combination is rare, especially to a mature woman who has already experienced careless hands, rushed intimacy, and men who touch without awareness. So when you show her control paired with tenderness, her emotional system lights up. Because control without force feels safe, and delicacy without weakness feels intoxicating. That is how to fall in love at a deeper level, not through performance, but through presence. And don't misunderstand this moment. This is not about trying to impress her or overwhelm her. You must not lean forward with urgency or add dramatic flair, because the power of this touch comes from restraint, from your ability to slow down when everything else speeds up. And that restraint tells her you are a man who governs himself. And in female psychology, a man who governs himself can be trusted with closeness. Her brain may scramble for logic afterward. She may replay it in her mind, asking herself why such a simple gesture felt so intense, why it lingered long after it ended, why her body responded before her thoughts did. And that's because this touch bypasses analysis. It speaks directly to the part of her that responds to certainty and calm, not pressure and noise. This is why she won't be able to explain it to herself or to her friends without sounding vague, because the effect lives beneath words. And the more she tries to rationalize it, the more she'll want to feel it again, not because of the touch itself, but because of how it made her feel seen, chosen, and steady all at once. And here is where many men fail. They repeat the action without repeating the energy. They think the hand placement is the secret, when in truth, the secret is the state you are in when you do it. Because psychology tricks only work when they are backed by authenticity. You must be present in your body, grounded in your breath, and unconcerned with the outcome. Because the moment you touch her face hoping for approval, you lose the magic. But when you touch her face as a natural extension of connection, she feels it instantly. And that is how to fall in love without forcing it. That is how to let attraction grow instead of chasing it. And remember this clearly. Don't overuse this touch. Don't turn it into a habit, because its power lies in timing and intention. Use it when the moment is quiet, when the connection is already warm, when words are no longer necessary. And you'll notice something subtle shift in her behavior afterward. Her tone softens, her eye contact lingers, her body stays a little closer, and she may not even realize why. But she will associate that calm intensity with you. And that association is what builds desire over time. Not flash, not tricks alone, but understanding female psychology deeply enough to know that the strongest moments are often the quietest ones. So be the man who understands that attraction isn't rushed, it's guided. Not demanded, but invited. And when you master that, one touch can say more than 1,000 words. And that is the true art behind psychology tricks, female psychology, and learning how to fall in love in a way that feels natural, grounded, and unforgettable. The second touch, the possessive hand on the lower back. The second touch is the possessive hand on the lower back, and this is where many men underestimate the power of simplicity. The lower back is a forgotten erogenous zone, not because it is obvious, but because it is subtle, and subtlety is exactly where attraction is born. Most men either ignore this area completely or touch it awkwardly, without intention, without direction, without awareness. That is a mistake, because when you place your hand there, firm but calm, present but not forceful, especially as you guide her through a doorway or move together through a crowded room, something ancient inside her wakes up, not because of pressure, but because of meaning. Her body understands before her mind can interfere, and her subconscious translates that single moment into a powerful message. This man leads me. This man sees me. This man wants me with certainty. All of that happens in less than 2 seconds. No conversation required, no explanation needed. That is how attraction works when it is done correctly. Do not underestimate what guidance communicates. Guidance is not control. Guidance is clarity. And clarity is deeply attractive to a mature woman who has spent years making decisions, carrying responsibilities, and managing outcomes. She is not looking for someone to dominate her life. She is looking for someone who can momentarily take the wheel so she can rest her mind. That is why this touch works. It removes her from constant mental effort and places her back into her body. And when a woman drops from her head into her body, desire follows naturally. That is female psychology at its core. Simple, direct, unforgiving of confusion. Here is the detail that separates men who attract women effortlessly from men who stay stuck overthinking. You do not ask for permission in this moment. You do not pause. You do not hover your hand in the air waiting for approval. Because hesitation communicates uncertainty, and uncertainty breaks the spell. Instead, you move as if it is already natural for you to guide her. Because it is. You are not asking for access. You are offering direction. And that difference is everything. A high-value man does not announce his confidence. He demonstrates it quietly. He assumes leadership without making a scene. He moves forward and others move with him. Be very clear about this. Not asking for permission does not mean being careless. It means being attuned. You must read the moment. You must feel the rhythm between you. This touch only works when the connection is already warm, when trust is present, when the interaction feels mutual. That is why it feels so powerful when done right. It is not imposed. It is aligned, and alignment is irresistible. This is masculine energy at its most refined, calm, grounded, decisive. Mature women are exhausted by men who ask for approval for every small move. Is this okay? Can I? Do you mind if? While politeness has its place, constant checking signals insecurity. It tells her you are unsure of yourself. It pulls her back into decision-making mode. And decision-making is the opposite of desire. She does not want to manage you. She wants to feel guided by someone who knows where he is going. That is why this touch lands so deeply, because it communicates direction without words. It says, "I've got this." And for a woman who has carried herself for years, that message feels like relief. Do not rush this touch. Speed ruins intention. When you place your hand on her lower back, let it be steady, let it be brief, let it be purposeful. You are not lingering to take, you are guiding to move. And that distinction matters, because the goal is not the touch itself. The goal is what the touch awakens. It awakens trust. It awakens surrender without force. It awakens a feeling she may not even realize she has been missing. This is how a high-value man moves through the world. He does not explain every action. He does not apologize for existing. He leads with calm certainty. And women feel that immediately, especially mature women. They have seen performances. They have heard words. They have learned to spot insecurity disguised as confidence. But what they respond to now is consistency, presence, direction, masculine energy that feels safe, not loud. Understand this deeply if you want to attract women without chasing them. Attraction is not created by trying harder. It is created by being clearer. Clear in your body, clear in your movements, clear in your intent. When your hand rests on her lower back for just a moment, guiding her forward, her nervous system registers something important. I don't have to lead right now. And that release is intoxicating. Do not overuse this touch. Scarcity creates value. Use it when it makes sense. Use it when movement is natural. Use it when you are transitioning from one space to another, because transitions are psychologically powerful moments. They open the mind. They lower defenses. And when you step into that moment with certainty, she associates that feeling of ease with you. Over time, that association grows into desire, quietly, steadily, without force. This is not a trick for beginners. This is refinement. This is the difference between a man who hopes to be chosen and a man who is naturally followed. And you must understand this. When you move like this, you are not trying to make her fall in love. You are allowing her to feel what it is like to be with a man who is comfortable leading. And once she feels that, she will want to feel it again. Female psychology is not complicated. It is precise. It responds to emotional safety, clarity, and direction. And this touch delivers all three at once. That is why it is so effective. That is why it bypasses logic. And that is why she may not even be able to explain why she feels closer to you afterward. She will just know that being near you feels easier, quieter, more grounded. Be that man. Don't overthink. Don't perform. Don't ask for validation. Be present. Be decisive. Be steady. That is masculine energy at work. And that is how a high-value man naturally attracts women without chasing, convincing, or explaining himself. This touch is not about possession. It is about direction. It is not about force. It is about certainty. And when you understand that difference, you stop trying to attract women and start allowing attraction to happen. Naturally. Effortlessly. Exactly the way it should. If this resonated with you, don't overthink it, act. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp, grounded wisdom, and step into the man who leads without hesitation. And if you agree with this truth, drop a comment right now and claim it. I lead calmly, and women feel safe following me. The third touch, the electric tension of the fingers. The third touch is not about the hand itself. It is about timing, restraint, and the quiet power of anticipation. Because before you ever hold her hand, you must first awaken her awareness. And you do that by letting your fingers brush hers as if by accident, light and fleeting, once, then again, then a third time. Never enough to satisfy, never enough to resolve, because every brief contact becomes an unfinished sentence. Every brush becomes a question without an answer. And the human mind, especially a mature woman's mind shaped by experience, cannot stop returning to unanswered questions. That is why she begins to think, Did he mean that? Does he feel this too? Am I imagining it? And in that space of uncertainty, desire grows stronger, not weaker, because certainty ends curiosity, but mystery feeds it. As Marcus Aurelius taught through Old Stoic wisdom, patience is the companion of wisdom, meaning the man who can wait, who can restrain himself, who can remain calm while tension builds, is the man who commands the moment, without force, without words, without chasing. This is where most men fail in modern life, because modern culture teaches speed, immediacy, and gratification. While attraction, real attraction, especially with a mature woman, is built slowly, deliberately, like a fire that starts with warmth before it becomes heat. When you let your fingers graze hers lightly, casually, as if it means nothing, you are not teasing her body. You are engaging her imagination. And imagination is always stronger than action because the mind fills silence with emotion. This is not manipulation. This is awareness. This is understanding human nature, something the Stoics mastered long before psychology named it. As Epictetus reminded us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and here imagination works in your favor. Because while you remain calm, grounded, present, she begins to lean forward emotionally, wondering, waiting, hoping. This is why Old Stoic wisdom teaches self-control above all else, because the man who controls himself controls the pace, and the man who controls the pace controls attraction. When you delay the handhold just long enough, when you let that electric tension live between your fingers, you create chemistry without saying a single word, without a compliment, without a promise. That silence speaks louder than any line, because silence signals confidence, and confidence signals safety, and safety is what allows desire to deepen, especially for a woman who has lived, loved, been disappointed, and learned to read men carefully. When you finally interlace your fingers with hers, it does not feel sudden or forced. It feels inevitable, earned. By that moment, she is already emotionally invested, already softened, already open, not because you rushed her, but because you respected the process. This is where iron mind discipline matters, because desperate men rush to relieve their own anxiety, while magnetic men allow tension to exist without needing to escape it. That ability comes from inner strength, not tactics. From Stoicism, win principles that teach you to remain steady when others act impulsively, to stay present when others seek reassurance, to trust timing rather than force outcomes. In modern life, where everyone is overstimulated and impatient, this restraint becomes rare. And rarity creates value. Value creates attraction. As Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Freedom here means freedom from needing immediate validation, freedom from fearing rejection, freedom from the urge to prove yourself through action. When you move through the world with that freedom, your touches carry weight. Your pauses carry meaning. Your presence carries authority. This is advice you must take seriously if you want to master relationships rather than chase them. Because touching without awareness is forgettable, but touching with intention is unforgettable. Remember this clearly. Do not grab, do not rush, do not resolve the tension too soon. Be patient, be deliberate, be calm, because anticipation is the language of desire. When you speak it fluently, you no longer need to convince, persuade, or impress. You simply allow attraction to unfold naturally, guided by old Stoic wisdom, strengthened by iron mind discipline, and lived fully through Stoicism win principles. And when you master this, you are not just learning how to hold a hand. You are learning how to hold your composure, your confidence, and your place in the world. And that is how a man wins, not only in love, but in life itself. The fourth touch, seduction through the hair. The fourth touch is seduction through the hair, and don't underestimate it, because when you slowly run your fingers through her hair, you are not just touching strands, you are touching memory, safety, and something deeply wired into female psychology that very few men ever understand. That is the part of her that learned comfort long before desire, long before attraction, long before she ever decided how to fall in love. Because hair touch is not sexual first, it is emotional first. And that is exactly why it works so powerfully on a mature woman who has lived, endured, and learned to protect herself. Don't rush it. Don't grab. Don't make it obvious. Be slow. Be present. Be grounded. Because speed signals need, while calm signals strength. And strength is what allows her nervous system to soften. When your fingers move gently through her hair, you activate old emotional imprints associated with care, reassurance, and being held without expectation. In that moment, her body understands something her mind might still be questioning, that she is safe with you, that she does not have to perform, that she does not have to stay alert, that she does not have to be the strong one for once. And that is the doorway where how to fall in love actually begins for her. Most men think seduction starts with words, confidence, or clever psychology tricks. But real seduction starts when a woman's body relaxes before her mind gives permission. Female psychology responds to presence more than pressure, to consistency more than intensity, and to calm masculine energy more than excitement. When she is leaning on you, when her head rests close, when the moment is already quiet and shared, that is when this touch becomes transformative. Because you are teaching her body to associate your presence with peace. And peace is addictive to a woman who has spent years managing stress, responsibility, and emotional labor. Don't overdo it, because repetition kills magic. But do it with intention, because intention is what turns a simple gesture into a psychological anchor. When she feels that gentle movement through her hair, slow and unhurried, her breathing changes. Her shoulders drop. Her defenses soften without her consciously deciding to let them go. That is not manipulation. That is attunement. That is emotional intelligence applied through touch, one of the most subtle yet effective psychology tricks men can learn if they want to understand female psychology rather than fight it. Be aware that this touch should never come from hunger. It must come from steadiness. Women can feel the difference instantly. If you are seeking reassurance through the touch, she will tense. If you are offering reassurance through the touch, she will melt. A mature woman does not fall for desperation. She falls into safety. Safety is created when you are comfortable with silence, comfortable with closeness, comfortable with not needing a reaction right away. That is why this touch works best when the vibe is already intimate, not loud, not crowded, not rushed, but slow and shared. Intimacy is not about proximity. It is about emotional alignment. In that alignment, your touch becomes a message, saying without words, "You don't have to pretend here." That message lands deeper than compliments ever could. Don't confuse this with control. Control repels. Grounded guidance attracts. When your hand moves through her hair with calm certainty, it communicates that you are present, attentive, and emotionally regulated, qualities that signal long-term potential to a woman who has outgrown chaos. Remember this clearly. How to fall in love for her is not about being swept away. It is about being gently drawn in repeatedly until trust replaces vigilance. That is why this touch works over time, not instantly. It creates a pattern. And patterns shape attachment more than grand gestures ever will. Many men fail here because they either hesitate too much or act too boldly. Timing is everything. When she chooses to lean on you, physically or emotionally, she is already opening a door. This touch simply invites her to step through it, not by force, not by persuasion, but by comfort. And comfort is the most underestimated force in attraction. Be calm, be slow, be intentional. The slower you move, the more she feels. The more she feels, the less she thinks. The less she thinks, the more her emotions speak. In that state, vulnerability feels not like weakness, but like relief. And relief is what binds her to you emotionally. Don't turn this into a routine. Routines lose emotional charge. Let it remain a moment she remembers, because memory is where attachment grows. Later, when she thinks of you, she will not just recall your words or your face. She will recall how her body felt around you, how her muscles softened, how her breath slowed, how her guard lowered without effort. That is how psychology tricks rooted in understanding female psychology actually work. Not by convincing her, but by creating experiences her nervous system wants to return to. Understand this clearly. You are not making her fall madly in love by touching her hair. You are creating the emotional conditions where love becomes easy instead of frightening. And for a mature woman, that is everything. She does not fear intimacy. She fears losing herself. When you show her through calm and respectful touch that she can be close to you without shrinking or struggling, you become the place where she can rest. And people always fall in love with the place where they can finally rest. That is the truth most men never learn. And that is why this touch, when used with awareness, patience, and respect, becomes one of the most powerful ways to understand how to fall in love naturally, without pressure, without games, and without pretending to be someone you are not. If this opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, share it with someone who needs calmer, deeper connection, and subscribe for more real-world psychology tricks that actually work. Now tell me this in the comments to lock it in your mind. Real attraction begins when she feels safe enough to stop being strong. The fifth touch, the emotional anchor on the shoulder. The fifth touch is the emotional anchor on the shoulder, and this one separates boys from men faster than almost anything else. When she is feeling down, stressed, or emotionally exposed, you place your hand on her shoulder firmly and you look her straight in the eyes. Don't look away. Don't rush the moment. Don't soften it with nervous humor. Be still. Be present. That steady contact tells her something words alone never can. It tells her you are not afraid of her emotions. And most men fail right here. They fidget, they distract, they try to fix too quickly. You must not do that. That is not strength. That is avoidance. A high-value man does not run from emotional weight. He grounds it. When you say, "I'm not going to let you go through this alone," you are not offering a solution. You are offering stability. That is the difference most men never understand. Mature women are not looking for saviors. They are looking for steadiness. They have already carried families, careers, heartbreaks, and responsibilities. They don't need another man who collapses when things get heavy. They need someone who can stand still when the storm shows up. That is masculine energy in its most attractive form: quiet, rooted, unshaken. Don't underestimate the shoulder. It is not a romantic spot. It is not a sexual one. That is exactly why it works. The shoulder is where burdens are carried, symbolically and physically. When your hand rests there with calm pressure, you are saying, "I can hold weight." And that message goes straight into female psychology. Her nervous system recognizes it immediately. Her body responds before her mind has time to question it. This is how you attract women without chasing them. You become the place where their emotions can land without breaking you. Most men talk too much in these moments. They offer advice that was never asked for. They try to be clever. Don't do that. Be simple, be direct, be certain. Say fewer words and mean them. The firmness of your hand matters. Not rough, not hesitant, grounded, intentional. Because firmness signals reliability. It says you are here, not halfway, not distracted, not preparing an exit. And when you hold eye contact while doing this, you are telling her something rare. You are not intimidated by her vulnerability. That moment creates a permanent emotional anchor, not temporarily, permanently. From then on, whenever she feels fragile, overwhelmed, or unsure, her brain will look for you. Not because you manipulated her, but because her nervous system learned something important in that moment. It learned that you are safe, that you do not disappear when things fall apart. And safety is not boring to a mature woman. Safety is intoxicating because it allows her to finally stop bracing for disappointment. Understand this clearly. Attraction does not grow from excitement alone. Excitement fades. Attraction grows from emotional reliability. That is how attachment forms. That is how bonds deepen. That is how love becomes durable instead of dramatic. Many men think passion is what makes a woman fall in love. Passion gets attention. Stability earns devotion, and devotion is what lasts. Mature women have had many men in their lives. They have been desired, complimented, chased, entertained. What they have rarely had is a man who stayed emotionally present when they were unraveling, a man who didn't make their pain inconvenient, a man who didn't minimize what they were feeling, a man who didn't try to escape discomfort. Be that man, and you don't compete with other men anymore. You become irreplaceable. This is where the idea of a high-value man becomes real, not theoretical. High value is not status. It is not money. It is not bravado. It is emotional capacity. It is the ability to stay regulated when someone else is dysregulated. Women feel this instantly. They may not articulate it, but they respond to it deeply. This is how masculine energy operates at a mature level. Calm strength, not performance. Don't confuse this with control. Control suffocates. Presence supports. There is a difference. Your hand on her shoulder is not about ownership. It is about reassurance. And reassurance, when it is genuine, rewires trust. Over time, she stops scanning for exits. She stops preparing for disappointment. She starts relaxing into you. That is how you attract women without pressure, without tactics, without pretending to be someone else. Timing matters. Don't use this touch casually. Don't use it when she is fine. Don't use it to force closeness. Use it when she is already open, when her voice drops, when her body language softens, when she shares something real. That is when the anchor holds. That is when the moment becomes meaningful instead of mechanical. Most men underestimate how deeply women remember moments like this. They forget what was said. They never forget how they felt. Months later, something will go wrong in her life. Stress will rise, fear will surface, and her mind will drift to you, not consciously, automatically, because her body remembers the man who did not leave when things were heavy. That is not luck. That is psychology. You must understand this if you want to attract women at a mature stage of life. They are not impressed by noise. They are drawn to calm. They are not chasing intensity. They are craving peace. And peace does not come from excitement. It comes from emotional safety. Be the man who provides that, and you will never have to chase connection again. Don't perform strength. Embody it. Don't rush intimacy. Allow it. Don't fear her emotions. Hold space for them. That is the shift. That is the difference. That is what makes this fifth touch one of the most powerful emotional anchors you can create. When you place your hand on her shoulder and say, "I'm not going to let you go through this alone," mean it, because empty words break trust faster than silence. But when those words are backed by presence, consistency, and follow-through, they become part of her emotional foundation. And people protect what feels foundational. Be that man, not louder, not flashier, steadier. Because steadiness is rare, and rarity attracts. The sixth touch, the provocative arm touch. The sixth touch is what experienced men understand instinctively and inexperienced men overthink, the provocative arm touch, and it works not because it is aggressive or intense, but because it is light, playful, and confidently casual. It is the kind of touch that says you are comfortable in your own skin and completely unafraid of tension. Not everything has to be deep to be powerful. Sometimes you need to keep the flame alive with light, fun, almost annoying touches because they are so provocative. A playful nudge during a joke, a quick squeeze of her arm when you disagree with her in a teasing way, not to dominate or impress, but to spark a reaction. Because attraction is not built by seriousness alone, it is sustained by polarity, by that subtle dance between closeness and distance, between warmth and challenge. And this is where Old Stoic wisdom quietly applies. Stoicism never taught men to suppress desire. It taught them to master themselves so their actions feel deliberate, grounded, and calm. When you touch her arm with intention rather than need, you are communicating emotional control without a single word. That is why a mature woman feels safe leaning into it, because she senses you are not chasing validation, you are inviting connection. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury," meaning you do not react like the desperate men she has already seen. You move differently, slower, steadier, with an iron mind that is not shaken by whether she responds instantly or not. That calm confidence makes even a simple arm touch feel charged because it carries a message. You are present but not attached, interested but not dependent, playful but not careless. This is crucial advice for men navigating modern relationships, where attraction often dies under pressure. Too many men mistake intensity for intimacy, when intimacy actually grows from comfort mixed with tension, not pressure, not over-explaining, not constant reassurance. This provocative arm touch works precisely because it does not ask for emotional permission. It simply happens naturally in the flow of interaction, during laughter, during light disagreement, during a shared moment where words pause and energy takes over. When done correctly, it keeps sexual polarity alive without turning the interaction sexual, because attraction is not just romance and candlelight conversations, it is also friction, contrast, and playful unpredictability, the same way fire needs oxygen, not more fuel. This is where Stoicism win becomes practical rather than philosophical. The Stoic man understands that control is attractive, restraint is powerful, and subtlety is more effective than force. He does not rush to escalate or retreat. He lets moments breathe. He allows her curiosity to grow. He touches, then pulls back emotionally, not as a tactic, but as a natural expression of self-respect. That is why mature women respond so strongly to it. They are not looking for performance, they are looking for presence. They want to feel chosen, not hunted. When you lightly touch her arm and then continue the conversation as if nothing happened, you demonstrate that your world does not orbit around her reaction. Paradoxically, this makes her lean in more. Humans are drawn to what feels stable and grounded, not what feels needy. In today's world, where digital communication has dulled real connection, physical presence becomes even more meaningful. A simple arm touch cuts through noise in a way words cannot, but only when it comes from a man who has mastered himself. A man with iron mind discipline. A man who does not fidget, rush, or overcompensate. This is the deeper lesson behind the technique. The touch itself is not magic. The man behind it is. Apply this without inner stability and it feels awkward, forced, or invasive. Live by Old Stoic wisdom and the same gesture becomes magnetic. Calm, self-contained, comfortable with silence. It reflects inner order, and order is attractive, especially to a woman who has lived long enough to recognize chaos disguised as passion. So the advice is simple, but demanding. Do not overthink the touch. Earn the right to make it by becoming the kind of man whose presence already feels safe and intriguing. Master your reactions, master your pace, master your emotions. Attraction follows self-mastery, not tricks. This is the core of Stoicism win. You stop trying to convince and start allowing. You stop chasing outcomes and start embodying strength. And when you do, even something as small as a playful arm touch becomes a signal of confidence, polarity, and emotional leadership. Because a man with an iron mind understands this truth deeply. You do not force desire. You invite it. You do not cling. You create space. And in that space, connection grows naturally, powerfully, and effortlessly. If you made it this far, you already understand what most men never do. Attraction is not built by intensity, but by playful tension and calm confidence. Light touches, natural timing, no force, no pressure. That is how polarity stays alive. If this message resonates with you, like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more hard-earned wisdom. Now comment this below to lock it in and interact with the channel. I know when to move closer and when to pull back. The seventh touch, the hug that dissolves barriers. The seventh touch is the hug that dissolves barriers, and you must understand from the start that this is not a polite hug, not a social courtesy, not the kind people exchange out of habit or obligation, but a deliberate, grounding embrace that communicates safety, certainty, and emotional depth without a single spoken word. So don't rush it and don't treat it lightly, because this hug works only when you are fully present, fully calm, and fully anchored in yourself. When you wrap your arms around her and gently draw her into your chest, you are creating a moment where her nervous system begins to soften, and that is the key, because female psychology responds first to feeling, not explanation. So don't squeeze abruptly, And don't hover awkwardly. Be firm but relaxed, grounded but warm. That is the balance you must hold. And once she is there, pressed against you, you stay. 7 to 10 seconds at least, long enough for her breathing to slow, long enough for her thoughts to quiet, long enough for her body to recognize the rhythm of yours. And this is where psychology tricks become real, because her mind stops analyzing and her body takes over. She notices your warmth, your scent, the steady rise and fall of your chest, and without realizing it, she begins to feel contained, protected, and seen. Not emotionally interrogated, not rushed, just held. And this creates a complete emotional reset, the kind that words cannot force and logic cannot resist, because the body believes what the mind questions. And when she steps out of this hug, she carries the imprint of it with her, slightly calmer, slightly softer, slightly more open, and that is how to fall in love at a deeper level, especially for a mature woman who has already seen enough promises and heard enough speeches, because she is no longer impressed by effort alone. She is drawn to presence. And this hug communicates presence better than any sentence ever could. So don't explain it afterward and don't joke it away. Let silence follow it, because silence allows her to feel the contrast. And contrast is powerful in female psychology. The contrast between tension and calm, between noise and stillness, between before and after. And this is why later, when she is alone, she thinks of you without trying. Her body remembers the feeling of being fully wrapped without pressure or expectation. And that memory becomes emotional gravity, not obsession, not confusion, but a quiet pull. And psychology tricks only work when they feel natural, when they are grounded in authenticity. So you must not use this hug to take or demand. You must use it to give steadiness, because confidence is felt, not announced. And when a man can hold space without needing to fill it, attraction grows effortlessly. So don't overuse this touch and don't perform it mechanically. Use it when the moment calls for closeness, when trust has already been invited, because restraint makes this touch meaningful. And meaning is what mature love responds to, not intensity alone. And remember this clearly: how to fall in love at this stage of life is not about overwhelming her. It is about making her feel safe enough to soften. And when she feels that safety in your arms, she doesn't just remember the hug. She remembers how she felt becoming herself again inside it. And that feeling, once experienced, quietly draws her back to you again and again. All right, my friend, let's slow it down and close this the right way. If you've stayed until this moment, that already tells me something about you. You're not here for cheap tricks. You're here to understand why things work. And that's exactly where real attraction begins. Here's the truth most men never hear. Touch is never just physical. It's emotional. It's psychological. A mature woman doesn't respond to hands alone. She responds to the state you are in when you touch her. If you are calm, grounded, and sure of yourself, she feels safe. If you move with intention, not rush, she feels desired. That feeling stays with her long after the moment ends. So here's my sincere advice to you. Stop chasing reactions. Stop trying to impress. Instead, focus on presence. Own the space you're in. Slow your movements. Let silence do some of the work. When you touch, do it as if you've already decided who you are. No apology, no hesitation. That quiet certainty is what separates a man she remembers from a man she forgets. And understand this clearly. Mature women don't fall in love with promises or flashy words. They fall in love with how you make them feel when no one else is watching, with how steady you are, with how controlled you are, with how respected and feminine they feel in your presence. Take this knowledge seriously. Use it with respect, because power without control destroys attraction. But power with discipline, that creates connection, trust, and desire at the same time. If this message felt real to you, if it sounded like something you've never been told before, then you're exactly where you need to be. Stay sharp, stay intentional, and be ready, because what's coming next will change how you see attraction forever.